Welcome to episode 3 of the 904 Pro Show, connecting you to local businesses. Today, we have my longtime friend, Casey Clementz, financial advisor with Brower Financial Group. Casey, I am shocked to have you on today.
I know. Thank you for having me in, and I know it was quite shocking that I actually get in front of the camera.
There you go. It's like pulling teeth, as they say. But hey, no, I appreciate you coming in. Casey and I have known each other for
over 24 years.
24 years. Yeah. So it's going to be hard to find someone I've known longer to bring on the show. We go all the way back to freshman high school. I mean, it's been so long. I was taller than Casey when we met. So
that is accurate.
Back in our freshman football days of the Bishop Row Vikings, we should probably give them a shout out, right? Like somebody.
Sure.
Just the Vikings in general, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. If any of our teachers are watching, they could probably. I'm sure they knew that we'd be doing this.
Oh, of course.
As adults. So anyway, so as I mentioned, Casey is with Brower Financial Group, and it's been a fun evolution to see your evolution, I guess, from what you were doing straight out of college, and probably the same with me, to see kind of your path. So why don't you tell them a little bit about what you did right after Jacksonville University up till now.
Yeah, graduated and knew that I needed to get into some type of corporate America, get some training under my belts, with the ultimate goal of running my own business. I grew up with a family that ran their own business, and just love how you can have that work-life balance with running your own business compared to working for a corporation, but knew that training was really needed. So out of college, got some corporate training, and then got into finance. Worked for a bank, big national bank, and it was fun. It was great. Went through 2008 with the bank, which was a little challenging, but realized that wasn't what I wanted to ultimately do. I knew that I liked the financial planning and investment side of things, and really just was trying to find where was that next step. Mm-hmm. And I knew that the bank was my point where, all right, now it's time to get into what I really want to do. Got to know the gentleman that I work with, Darby Brower, and his family, and they were looking for someone to come on board at that time, about 2000 into 2009. Mm-hmm. Joined him immediately and jumped right in, and now 10 years later, I'm still doing the same thing that I always wanted to be doing out of college, which is financial planning and helping small businesses grow, and helping small business owners pay themselves back within a retirement plan, rather than just put all their money into the business. So that's kind of how I've started, and I've kind of found this little passion for small business owners.
Sure.
And like yourself, small business owner, I've 5 years ago brought you on, and you could probably say a little bit about how that.
Well, yeah, just knowing you from all the way back in our childhood days, it's not like, well, Casey's financial planner, so I'm going to go give him all my money and hope for the best. I mean, we've been best friends. I mean, my goodness, we're each other's. One of the child's godparents on both sides. We've done plenty together over our lives, but it's just one of those things. Money is it's the number one, or one of the top reasons for divorce. I certainly didn't want to have something with our friendship. So seeing the evolution from the bank, I think it was like 5 years into you being at Brower before we really had that conversation.
Right.
I had a guy, and it was basically just helping me. Honestly, I don't know what he was helping me with, but the conversation was, okay, you get to that point as a small business owner where you become profitable, and you're starting to just put money away. And at one point I was just putting money in savings. So I was like, okay, that's probably not doing a lot for me. Right. Okay, let's go diversify and do all the market. And so the conversation I remember I had with you was, I don't know what I'm working toward. I'm putting money away and I feel like I'm doing a good job, but
Yeah.
when am I going to retire? Like, what does this all mean? And I think for me, having that plan of, I've got 3 kids, I've got a wife, I want to retire early would be great. But like, how does what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis getting me to that, whatever that is?
Yeah, and the biggest thing is, and I see it every time I meet with a lot of people in the past couple months, is switching the conversation of, it's not about what you're doing as far as your investments go. That's a part of the planning process. The whole ultimate goal of is doing holistic planning to know, yeah, you want to retire at X, when you're 65 and you want to have X number of dollars per month. Well, how do you get there? Well, and it goes back to just working backwards in a plan,
Right.
bringing in, do you have insurance in place? Do you have the means to do what your ultimate goal is? And if not, how can you gain value in what you're doing to have more savings to put away for that retirement goal, even if it is lofty?
Right.
There's a lot of people I meet with. It's not attainable immediately, but they know that they are on a path to either make more money or sell a business that might, in turn, give them the ability to retire with the lofty goal that they want.
Right.
And it's just, if the sooner you start it, which, we started, young 30s with you, and for a lot of clients, I've done that too. And the younger you start, the better off you're going to be.
Right.
Because that annual, monthly goal that you need to meet as far as putting money away, it's a lot easier to do when you start when you're younger. So, but yeah, I mean, it's great to see, or it's great for me to take a business owner who is so focused on their business,
Right.
and try to get them to take a little bit of that time and focus on themselves and realize that, yeah, I've got to put money away. If my spouse works with me, then yeah, we're going to put money away for our spouse, and just, make that your starting point for thinking about retirement, along with, if your ultimate goal is to sell your business, then yeah, that goes along with it. But, I call it pay yourself first scenario.
Right. Well, it's, for me, it's the advisory role. And like you said, being so invested from a resource standpoint, from bandwidth, just my time and all that every single day, working to make sure that my clients are happy so I keep clients, we keep growing. It's having someone that can navigate all of that stuff for me. And not just even in your role, it's helping with answering other questions or connecting me to, the tax guys, and you kind of helping me coordinate other advisors that I have to help me run my business. That's huge, because I am singularly focused, and I don't want to be an insurance guy,
Right.
and a financial planning guy and a mortgage guy and a whatever.
Yeah.
Part of why we have 904 pros, by the way. But having someone that can help me and answer all those questions and just know that it's being taken care of. I mean, it's kind of the same flip with you. When you send me stuff like, do we need to handle this domain thing or this website thing or this whatever, like,
Yeah.
that's my world. And so I think to have someone that can handle something that's, to me, more important than website stuff, that is a huge benefit.
Yeah, and I think that it kind of goes back to this, the 904 pros, and why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of, well, I don't have a marketing guy. Well, Pat's my marketing guy, and here's what he does for me.
Right.
And I can connect clients with someone like you if they're interested in learning what you do. I don't know anything about pools. Well, we have someone in our group that does pools, and I'm curious, can I even fit a pool in my backyard? And just things like that. It's great to know a network of pros,
Right.
who we can all fall back on to either do business together with, or network out to friends and clients and say, hey, I got this thought on refinancing my mortgage, but I don't know anything about mortgages. I know enough to be dangerous. I'm not a mortgage person. So I'd rather refer to a professional And in our network, we have a professional that does mortgages. So it's great to see these different professions that we have that we're networking with, and see where their industries are going. I mean, years like 2020, crazy things are going on. They all own their own business. How are you operating your business? How are you adapting through what we're going through to survive? I mean, that's ultimate what a small business owner is trying to do in situations like this. It's survive, adapt, and grow.
Right.
All in a very quick period because of what happened with this pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and with the group, we've had questions, which is great that people are trying to figure out what the heck this is because it is new. And, it's not a networking group. I won't name names, but where it's lead focused. You have to give me a lead, I have to give you a lead. And it's money focused, it's lead focused, it's business generation focused. It's the coordination. And again, it's the people that, we've known for years and years. I mean, we've had 20 years, 10 years, and 24 years of people I've known on the show in 3 episodes. So it's not like we're just grabbing, someone that's doing a billboard on beach or whatever. It's like people that we're vetting from a peer group to say, if someone asks me who my financial guy is, I feel confident now working with you for so long and knowing you for so long that, yeah, I'm going to pass them off and it's not going to hurt me.
Right.
And so, you were talking about the coordination of, just using a pool as an example, like if I want to get a pool, well, it's not just getting the right pool company. It's about talking to my financial planner. Can I afford it? And then talking to the mortgage guy and going, well, should I refinance? Can I, what can I do with equity in my home? Yeah. And then talking to my insurance guy, like, Sean Murphy, if I'm like, hey, I'm going to put a diving board in, and he goes, no, you're not.
Right. Yeah.
So it's about so the coordination has really come about in a really nice way. And then having, kind of the outliers where, marketing's involved, or, chiropractic care, or Jacksonville University, like we're getting all these different, different silos, and somehow it's all fitting together, which is really cool. And the fact that we're connected, we're helping the community, and some bigger, kind of giving and philanthropy things next year. It's an exciting group so far.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we both have young children, and getting involved outside of our family and our business is my next step, and it might be your next step too. I do a little bit outside, but now it's more of how can I do it with little kids, little children, that get them involved at a young age too, because that's kind of what we've been brainstorming in 904 Pros is, let's do something meaningful, but let's do something meaningful that we all can do together as families too. I mean, that's the cool thing of where this goes beyond just a bunch of professionals getting together, brainstorming, and networking. It's more of, hey, let's do something for us, but let's also do something for the community.
Right.
So
yeah, no, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about, you mentioned 2020 and what a time to try to bring a group together, but it has been because seeing how we can, like you said, help the community, help each other, help our end users, it's a great thing. But I know you read, hear, watch the news, and the panic that has happened this year in the market. I mean, my goodness, it's probably the busiest you've been. I know for me, everyone's talking about how do we communicate around COVID and all that, and then when the market's tanking, and I know we can't talk specifically or give exact advice right now, but I tend to have a hands-off approach, and I think you would attest to that. Like, I know you know what you're doing. I know I don't know enough. I know enough to be dangerous, but I let you do it. But when you're getting, just barraged with all this news about the market's tanking, things are terrible, election this, political that, what is one piece of advice? And I know the answer because you gave it to me, but what could you tell someone in a general setting like this about all the panic that's going on right now when it comes to investing, planning, things like that?
Yeah, and it takes a lot of our time in researching historical events and knowing what's happened in the past, and not that that's a omen for what's going to happen in the future. It just gives us talking points of, okay, here's what happened when we've had pandemics in the past, not to this level obviously, but
Sure.
it's just talking to clients and talking through their current situation. Are things changing, or are things consistent with their businesses? Are they consistent with their are they planning on the fact that one of the home or a spouse or someone's going to lose their job or anything? Because that goes into the holistic planning of, okay, maybe we need to veer off on a different path because you decided, you know what, my wife's going to start working with me instead of the corporate route, and that kind of changes dynamics. But when it comes to situations like, the pandemic and it's life changing for a lot of people, it's remembering what you're doing, remembering that your end goal is X. We're still on path for getting you to that end goal. Stay the course. We may need to make a couple changes here and there, but it's really just stay the course of what you're doing. Focus on what gets you to that goal. That's your business. Don't worry about the planning things. That's why,
Right.
Myself, my team are here to help do that. So, yeah, I mean, it's really just educating you as the client or many clients. So, for instance, we do a lot of business with in town. We've managed 401k accounts for clients in town who have 5 employees, 100 employees, 300 employees, and it's really getting to them because they may not have a me
Right.
to go to help them. So during the pandemic, we got busier because we were doing more educational, videos that went out to clients, or live videos. They could log in and literally just get some quick information of, should I hit the panic button? How do I not hit the panic button?
Right.
And what do we do? And that really is what we found through this year and in past years too, but this year specifically, of people just want to talk through things. They want to know, am I going to be okay? What should we do differently? And how do we get through this? And there's some simple advice that we've given people. There's some detailed advice that we've gone through with people because they changed the course. They're like, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore because of this. I found a niche, I'm going to stick with that, but it changes my future plans. And had we not talked to them through this, they might have panicked, wanted to go to cash or something like that they shouldn't have done. And it's really just communicating more than maybe we thought we were. We communicate with clients on a regular basis, but we try to step that up one more time.
Sure.
And a lot of it wasn't even talking about the pandemic or the elections that happened, and I'm not going to go talking about elections.
Yeah, okay. Well, you said it right. It's not about panicking, and I know there's a lot of historical advice or historical data that shows, if you missed the 5 best days, the 10 best days, 15 best days in the market because you had that panic and then all of a sudden it shot back up. And so
Right.
I know for me, I looked at it and went, oh my God, I see it tanking. It was at like 12%. Well, if I would have, and then I think at some point it was, 25%.
Yep.
Of everything was gone. I'm like, okay, well, if we pull out now, well, it went down a little bit more, but now I'm back. And so if I had done the panic move, I would have done that. And I think the best piece of advice you told me was I didn't lose anything.
Right.
And I went, okay.
And it's a very hard concept for people to grasp is, unless you sell and go to cash, you haven't lost anything because markets go up and down. And as long as you stay the course, you have the ability to reap the benefit of time, and over time you will come back. Now this year it happened pretty quickly.
Right.
We got lucky. I wouldn't say lucky. We just we stayed the course and did what we should have done, which was don't panic, make sure that you're invested the way you should, and just communicate along the way. And in times of pandemic or whatever, times of crisis, more communication is better because things happen quicker. So businesses had to adapt so quickly to change. I mean, look at the restaurants. I mean, they
Right.
literally had to adapt to takeout only and delivery, and a lot of restaurants didn't have that. But it's amazing how adaptive a lot of business owners can be.
You have to
And
be.
the ones that failed probably were the ones who couldn't
Right.
adapt. So
You have to be.
yeah.
So, well, Casey, I know you had mentioned, sort of the small business, but why don't you tell people who are watching, who exactly is your ideal client? Like, who are you working with right now?
Yeah. Right now, I'm focusing on the small business owner, the one that might think that there's not an advisor who's out there to help. But when we take a financial planning approach, there's an advisor like myself and the team that I work with that we focus on helping the business owner understand, hey, yeah, you might not have money saved over on the sidelines, but you have a business that's very profitable over here. And how do you, reap the benefit of what you're doing and save at the same time? And that's kind of a niche of, adding a 401k plan, or the sorts of, investments like that are tailored through the business that benefit the employer, or I'm sorry, benefit the owners, but also they might be able to say, you know what, I've been looking to something to give back to my employees.
Yeah.
And they're able to add a 401k plan with some type of match. And that's how they, in times like this, we did quite a few plans where the employee was like, or the owner was, I want to do something for my employees this year. I was able to sustain my revenue. And it was adding a match to a 401k plan that they didn't realize was that big, but in a year like this, it was pretty meaningful to an employee that the employer was like, look, I know we went through a rough patch to do this year, but I added a match to our 401k plan. It's just things like that. So going back to your question, I'm looking at helping business owners, and I say small business owners, there's a lot of large companies too that we help, but focusing on that small business owner that says, well, I don't have any money, I can't get an advisor to help me. Well, that's where planning comes into play. We do financial planning and a holistic approach. We look at so many different aspects, so it gets the light bulb to go on in a lot of business owners and saying, oh, you know what, I've always been wanting to learn, what is it going to take to retire? Or what is it going to take to get to, age 55, knowing that my kids are going to go off to college right after that, and that their college is going to be paid for by the time I get there.
Right.
I mean, they're just simple planning structures like that we do, or just full, robust, holistic planning. But going back to 904 Pros, our network that keeps growing and growing is the type of business owners that I'm looking for. They're wanting to network out, get to brainstorm with other like business owners that might do things a different way, and it has nothing to do with my industry.
Right.
And we just have open conversations of, operations are done this way in my industry, and I look back and I'm like, that might be something that I could utilize in our team, or relay to another client that might be similar to that person that I just had that conversation with. So, there's not really I only want small business owners that fit this little, window
Sure.
of things that I can do. It's more of, I want to talk to all business owners because there's always something that I can help them, with either just full on holistic planning or just simple of, hey, I've got 2 kids, but I don't know what I need to do for them to start paying, or for me to start saving for their college. I mean, it's a big expense down the road, and again, it goes back to the sooner you start, the better off you'll be when you get closer to them going off to college or whatever they decide
to do.
Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. Again, Casey Clementz, Brower Financial Group. You can find them, let's see, browerfinancialgroup.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter.
Twitter.
And on 904 Pros, Casey, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Pat.